Hello everyone and welcome back to Versus, the show that takes art and makes it competitive. Our wheelhouse is usually movies, some TV, but today it's going to run the gamut through just about every artistic expression one could possibly claim, because on this here episode, we got Queen Latifah taking on Jennifer Lopez. Obviously they won't be appearing here in studio, that would be awesome, and they're both invited whenever they'd like to take a tour and maybe get to see the Jeep from Jurassic Park or Harley Quinn's bat. We got some cool stuff here, but it all pales in comparison to the incredible output from both J-Lo and Queen that's been happening since the 1990s. Living single, in living color, and that was only the beginning for two of the most acclaimed and diverse careers Hollywood has ever seen. And today they're both on the show. Again, not literally. It feels like I'm gonna have to remind folks of that throughout this video essay. But again, the invitation always on the table if they'd like to, say, come in studio and meet Wilson the volleyball. He's around here somewhere. The poor guy gets lost sometimes.
Wilson! Wilson!
I'll also point out that there's not actual competition that I'm aware of between Latifah and Lopez. It's just that this show's called Versus, and we like to celebrate all-time great resumes like the ones these ladies sport and continue to nourish by making it a little tete-a-tete. Film is going to be the primary focus here, but we can also spice things up with music, TV, behind-the-scenes stuff, charities. These two icons do it all, but only one can win the most prestigious prize in all of this particular area, winning an episode of Versus. I'm Mark Ellis, they're legends, and here's how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer / audience score. Round 3, iconic characters. Round 4, memorable moments. And then we'll do a wild card round that could involve anything from music videos to dance moves to magazine covers. Apparently people still read magazines. I'm reminded of this every time I go to the airport. I'll still grab a Rolling Stone for the flight, and there's a very good chance I'll be skimming through some blurb about a Queen Latifah project or a new J-Lo venture. See? Look, they really wanted to be here today, but they're just too busy. In one corner we got Jennifer Lopez, who got started as a fly girl on In Living Color before making it big in music, TV, and film. In the other corner, it's Queen Latifah, who became well-known on the TV and music scenes first, and then would go on to star in big-time movies as well. They can both bust blocks with their monikers on a poster, fill our ears with emotion, and even appear in our living rooms, if that's where your TV is. Or you can stream them on your phone. It's Jenny from the Block and Queen. They're omnipresent, and it's high time we honor their legacies by declaring one a winner. You're both victors in my book, but for the sake of this show, we'll make it feel sporty by exclaiming, let's get it on. Round 1, box office. The movies. There's nothing quite like heading out to the multiplex, getting a big bucket of corn, extra butter for me, but it's okay because the soda's on a diet, and watching the screen light up. Regardless of what genre the film you're seeing is, you got a good shot that Jennifer Lopez and or Queen Latifah are involved. And if they weren't, I'll bet at least one of them was seen during the previews, which we now call trailers for some reason, and it still bugs me. The green screen says the following preview. I'm gonna call it a preview. And no one will know what I'm talking about.
Dang, see, that's your problem. You tried too hard.
Hey, remember 2019? Jennifer Lopez was in a pretty big movie and was even getting Oscar buzz thanks to Hustlers, which hauled in $150 million worldwide. Yet that's not even in her top 6 flicks in terms of cash registered. You remember Valentine's Day? The holiday, sure, you probably celebrated it with flowers or forgetting to get flowers. Or maybe you're like me and you buy a Russell Stover heart full of chocolates and eat it all by yourself. What, the dog can't have chocolate? It's more for me. V-Day is also a movie featuring Queen Latifah that charmed up $217 million across the globe, yet it's not even in her top 6 buck earners of all time. We knew they were A-listers, but wow, is today going to be a scrap. Jennifer Lopez had her film starring coming out party thanks to, don't say Out of Sight, we're not there yet. I was thinking 1997's Anaconda, starring her, Ice Cube, a hilarious John Voight, and rumor has it, there's a giant snake as well. It would amass $136 million, and even before that, her turn as Robin Williams' teacher, in Jack, helped grow that total to almost $60 million. Ooh, and she's great in 1995's Money Train, alongside the best two-man basketball team in movie history. The take lived up to the title as it turned out $77 million. Then Out of Sight happened in '98. Her and George Clooney had unparalleled chemistry, and it matched Money Train's run, tracking to $77 million. But that wasn't Jay's highest growing movie that year. She appeared in vocal form in Ants, which farmed $152 million. If it's voicing animated fare you like, I'll keep yapping. J-Lo also contributed to Ice Age Continental Drift, which made $879 million in 2012, and also starred Queen Latifah. So she gets that dough on her scorecard as well, and might have a leg up because the Queen was in 3 other Ice Age flicks as well. Collision Course, The Meltdown, and Dawn of the Dinosaurs. If you can tell any of those movies apart, you're a better viewer than I. or much, much younger. But they dominate the box office. The Latifah ones alone have garnered over $2.5 billion, and I will admit, I do find the squirrel funny. Queen also has Chicago and its $306 million take, and Hairspray and its $202 million hold under her belt, while projects like The Bone Collector, Scary Movie 3, and Bring It Down the House all raked in over $150 million. Girls Trip was just below that line at $140 million and remains one of the hardest laugh fests I've ever had at the movies. J-Lo ain't done yet, though. She can counter with Home's $385 million draw, and Monster-in-Law, Made in Manhattan, and Shall We Dance all earned at least $150 million each. Okay, so remember when I said J-Lo broke out in Money Train or Ants, whatever it was? Let's all remember the first time most of us saw J-Lo and shouted, "That's a star." It's when she was playing another famed musician, Selena. The 1997 movie generated $35 million in box office, but well over $100 billion in terms of emotion, heart, and influence. If she started that movie today, that's an Oscar win for her, bar none. But the last word in round one goes to the Queen, who helped headline Barbershop 2 to $60 million, Last Holiday to $43 million, and remember before Jimmy Fallon hosted The Tonight Show, but after his SNL heyday, he made a movie with Queen Latifah called Taxi, which hailed $68 million in 2004. Some highlights, some also rants, but so much of the coin these films generated is thanks directly to the contributions of JL and QL, but who has the might to win the first point of the day? Let's go to the law of averages. Jennifer Lopez and her many films have teamed up to snare $3.1 billion, which makes for an impressive average of $107 million per movie. Anytime your average take is in the triple millions, you're doing something, and likely many things right. Can Queen top it? Latifah has a cum of $5.2 billion, wow, and her per-film usual is a robust $141 million. And sure, both have tossed in some animated works that help bolster those numbers, but I'll remind you that these digits are gaudy even without the help of a huge comic book property or an outer space franchise. You got a lot of rom-coms, some thrillers, a few snakes tossed in, good filmographies, great results. And our result for round one is a point for Queen Latifah, who taught me how to spell the word unity. Woo! Woo! Queen won, Jennifer nothing, as we head to round two, Tomatometer / audience score. Okay, so we loved both these ladies as we walked into the movie theater, and that's not even mentioning all the TV ratings, the streams, the downloads, the views, and CD sales. Yeah, CDs, remember? Compact discs. They came in jewel box cases, yet for some reason they were packed into long, weird cardboard boxes. It was a strange time. Ask your grandparents. We're fans of Latifah and Lopez, and at the BO, that was good for over $8 billion combined. But now we're in round two, which asks the query, what did critics and audiences think about your movies as they exited? We get to kick things off with a good old hustle contest. You, the home viewer, don't have to run anywhere, but you may recall that Queen Latifah stars opposite Adam Sandler in Hustle and that J-Lo is in Hustlers. Which one fared better on the Tomatometer? Hustlers is at 87% fresh, but Hustle is 93%. It's an early lead for the Queen, and she gets to brag about more movies first. Hairspray's at 92%, Chicago's 86%, and Girlstown is 85%, not to be confused with Girls Trip, which is even fresher, tied with Aquanet at 92%. Meanwhile, J to the Low has Out of Sight at 94% in the Veggie Patch, Ants at 92%, and an early roll in 1995's Mi Familia, which rests at 79%. Selena is 67%. Don't worry, we did an episode of my podcast, Rotten Tomatoes is Wrong, on that very movie, and all of us, including special guest Harvey Guillen, agreed that that movie should be way higher up. You're welcome, Planet Earth. Where's Anaconda? Come on, it's got to be 95, 96%, right? 40%? But it's the jaws of the Amazon. It also unfortunately brings up a great point. These ladies may be as fresh as they get, but lots of their movies didn't quite get up to that 60% necessary to be a fresh film number. There's some rottenness about these filmographies, so let's put the gloves on and get this over with. Damn it, who put Money Train at 22%? Oh, right, the Tomatometer's a representation of how a wide swath of critics felt, but I bet the audiences loved it. Wesley, Woody, J-Lo, come on. It's at 29% on the audience score. It's an improvement.
It's all right, you know, just a little bit too much testosterone in here or something, right, babe?
Both Jack and the Wedding Planner are just 17%, The Boy Next Door is 12%, and the film Her and Queen share, Ice Age CD, that's Continental Drift, not compact disc, thuds at 37%. The problem for Latifah is that she's got lots more Ice Age on her IMDb. Would it penalize her in the tomato garden? Well, you got The Meltdown, which damn near made it to Fresh at 57%, but you also have Collision Course, which landed at 18%. So that's a wash. How about that Taxi movie we talked about? Ooh, dear, 9%? Joyful Noise hit the 32% note. What Happens in Vegas catches 25%, and Beauty Shop primes with 38%. I'm sure audiences have been kinder to some of these movies, right? Yeah, Last Holiday goes from 55% on the TM to 67% with the audience, and even Dawn of the Dinosaurs roars into fresh territory at 62%.
Okay, fine. That's what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, Continental Drift is 61% on the audience score. That's a win for both divas, and a nice segue into how Lopez fares here. The Backup Plan leaps up to 46%, and Monster-in-Law scared up 55% with the audience. Oh, and remember Enough, where she trains and ultimately beats the crap out of her abusive lover? Great movie. It was only 22% on the Tomatometer, but the audience score knew what's up, and it's fresh there at 67%. So it seems like we got a pretty even battle here. I forgot to mention one of the most famous flops of recent decades, Gigli. It was no Jersey Girl, which came out rather quickly after Gigli and also starred Bennifer, that being J-Lo and Ben Affleck. They rekindled something recently? Did I read that in Us Weekly? It's also a magazine. Romances, breakups, makeups, all that hot goss aside, I don't pay attention to it. I do pay attention to the Tomatometer, and Jersey Girl's 43% there, and Gigli is 6%. Yikes. Jersey Girl's pretty good, though. George Carlin shows up.
Even Uncle Green and Uncle Black are better than you.
Those men are not your uncles!
Oh, no, but we're good enough to build sets for a show, right? I got it. Sorry, I mean that.
To the law of averages we go once again, and Jennifer Lopez sports a Tomatometer average of 42%, but an audience score of 53%. Okay, so we're competing. Here comes the queen. Latifah averages 45% of the Tomatometer and seals the win with a fresh 60% according to the audience. And just like that, QL gets the round 2 point and goes up 2-0 on recent Super Bowl halftime performer Jennifer Lopez.
It's cold. You might just get along.
Round 3, iconic character. I can't figure out what's more incredible. How iconic each one of these women has become in just about every facet of entertainment there is, or that they're still so capable of slipping into other characters and making us almost completely forget we're watching someone that famous act, or sing, or write, or produce. Their resumes are stacked. Meanwhile, I have nothing but a nap planned after this taping. Just looking at Lopez and Latifah's career accomplishments is actually exhausting for me. Born Dana Elaine Owens, now known as Queen Latifah, she's played many other names in her day, and more than a few stand out, such as Cleo, one of the central characters in Set It Off. This is still one of Latifah's most recognized roles, mainly because it signaled an official and proven turn from hip-hop artist to movie star, with some very important TV along the way. More on that in a bit. We'll also get to J-Lo's TV moments, but I'll kick her off in round 3 with Selena, the biopic that arrived in theaters a year after Set It Off. One's fictional, the other a real-life Tejano star who had her life tragically cut short not too long before the movie was filmed. But both helped establish that one fly girl and that all hail the Queen musician as hyphenates that could do anything in entertainment and do it well. J-Lo began her performing career as a dancer on the pivotal early 1990 sketch show In Living Color, which helped launch the careers of folks like David Alan Grier, Jim Carrey, and lots of talented funny people with the last name Wayans. Around the same time, Latifah had moved on from Tommy Boy to Motown Records and released her Black Rain album, which took the charts and the music world by storm. While Lopez was making the transition from background performer to silver screen star in the mid-90s, Latifah booked a role on Living Single, a show that centered around a bunch of single 20-somethings living in New York. Sound familiar? It debuted before Friends, but like the Central Perk show, it would become one of the most influential sitcoms of the entire decade. And for all the credit we give J-Lo for her performance as Selena, and rightfully so, Queen also played a music legend in her career. The film was Bessie, about the mythical but very real 1920s blues singer Bessie Smith. The turn would see a SAG award and an Emmy nomination head the Queen's way. Speaking of awards, I hear them Academy ones are a pretty big deal, and Queen was nominated for her Mama Morton role in Chicago. Latifah also paved the way for actresses of all kinds to star in a rom-com, thanks to trailblazing fare like Last Holiday. You no longer had to look like Meg Ryan or Julia Roberts to lead a successful romantic comedy.
That's fine with me, baby.
J-Lo also showed command of an audience early in her career. Selena and Anaconda opened within weeks of each other, and both were #1 at the box office their respective weekends. Lest you get typecast as Selena or a snake hunter, Out of Sight arrived soon thereafter, and one could argue that she helped George Clooney figure out this whole big screen thing. Remember, he was mainly the guy from ER, unless you're a hardcore Facts of Life fan, which I was, and am. Rom-com parts like Made in Manhattan and The Wedding Planner showed J-Lo as a lead, not just the most prominent female. And even when lesser material like The Boy Next Door showed up, she provided a spark in every scene. More recently, Lopez appears to have become ageless and as effervescent as always. Just see her performance in Hustlers, a role which many pundits felt was snubbed come Oscar time. Both Lopez in Shades of Blue and Latifah in shows like The Equalizer have shown that they can come back to their TV roots with success. And seeing Queen add a motherly tenderness to the NBA-centric Hustle hints that she's beginning to tap into yet another splendid phase of her career. But if most things are equal in this round, all about the characters you inhabit, I gotta lean with J-Lo, and the tiebreaker might be Selena. She actually performed as the fallen icon in front of over 30,000 fans for the film, and to hear accounts of the folks in attendance, it was like she became Selena. Afterwards, she got off stage, Selena's mom gave her a big hug, and the emotion was real. And in much less exciting news, the win is real for J-Lo in this round. She's on the board and cuts the lead to just 1.
You wanted to tussle. We tussled.
Round 4, memorable moments. Okay, so let's continue the Selena love here. Did I ever tell you about the time she performed in front of over 30,000? Oh, right, I just did. I love that story. It counts here too, but we'll move on because it is gonna make me cry. Both ladies find their footing easily in rom-coms. There's a real cute moment in The Wedding Planner, when J-Lo is saved from a runaway garbage bin just in the nick of time by Matthew McConaughey, and then asks, "Why are you still on top of me?" It's fun, and I'm still waiting to meet the love of my life like that. Get off the dating apps, boys. Start hanging around loose garbage bins.
Why are you still on top of me?
Made in Manhattan is big on emotion, while Marry Me with Owen Wilson features some superstar concert sequences and the warm maple syrup sweetness of the marriage is worth a shot talk. But if we're talking all-out great comedic moments, and that's probably what this round is about, it's kind of how you win, I need the floor to gush about Girls Trip. That entire movie is why I always say, see comedies in theaters opening weekend. Fantastic crowd, the joint was packed, my tummy was sore from laughing too hard. The dance battle, the lady mouse scene, it's the best. That flick is probably the top 10 hardest laughers I've ever seen. But then you have Chicago, and her legendary performance of the tune, When You're Good to Mama. Sly references, giant fans, it's good stuff. And as if Latifah wasn't herself good enough, see Joyful Noise and how great of a time she has with Dolly Parton.
Infallible, untouchable, unlovable, the Rose Hill.
Quit it with those nails, Edward Scissorhands.
J-Lo burst on the scene as a stealer of them, from either a huge invertebrate with Anaconda or a handsome vertebrate with George Clooney and Out of Sight. I caught this movie recently again, and that bathtub sequence still steams up the entire screen. I forgot how awesome the jailbreak sequence is, and her deadbeat kinda boyfriend is, you guessed it, Michael Keaton. The Cell is worth revisiting for killer visuals and trippy psychedelic moments that have us doubting our very existence. It may not be The Matrix, but it shouldn't be forgotten either. He always finds me. Like every round thus far, we see a tight race coming down to the wire. How does one break the tie between the pole dancing and fur coat donning of Hustlers against the phenomenal woman take in Beauty Shop? I might have to say enough's enough and consult the movie Enough. J-Lo shows way more range than that Tomatometer score indicates. She can go subservient, delicate, frightened, but then morph into a courageous alpha badass. And sometimes we see all those colors within one take. I still remember seeing the preview for that film in a packed theater. The premise gets set up. We know this dude's an abusive douche. We feel sorry for her, and then he comes home and boom, J-Lo in the foreground. Gloves, ready to kick ass. The whole theater went, ooh, that's good stuff. You marry that with Selena, snake hunting, rom-com mastery, and once again, Lopez emerges with a win here in round 4, and suddenly we're tied 2-2.
Quit it. What? You're it, girl.
I'm scared of you.
And now it's time for the wild card round, Legacy. And finally, we get to put it all on the line, and let's factor in some more TV, music, icon-like stuff that both Queen Latifah and Jennifer Lopez seem to pull off with stunning regularity and have for a very long time. Obviously, both are trailblazers that have carved a path for artists from all walks of life to follow, and they began this road forging remarkably early in their lives. Queen Latifah became the first female rapper to take over Hollywood, making an immediate impact with cameos in Jungle Fever and House Party 2. But she was also signed to one major record label at that time and showed off her survivalist ways by transitioning to an even bigger music career with Motown Records. Nominated for an Academy Award in the early 2000s and earning a star on the Walk of Fame in the mid-2000s were certainly benchmarks of success, but I attribute a sizable piece of her legacy to Living Single. Up to that point, TV audiences had only seen a handful of shows like A Different World and Martin as a modern take of people of color making their way in the world as opposed to already being established with careers and families. Living Single made the ladies the primary focus, and you didn't have to be a supermodel to feel represented watching it. The series was a big ratings earner for Fox, and when we talk nowadays about projects like Girls Trip getting the green light and generating hundreds of millions of dollars, it's fair to say movies like that can run because Living Single walked. Part of J-Lo's appeal will always be intertwined with her breakout role as Selena, but not just because she portrayed such a legendary performer. Through embodying the Tejano star, J-Lo gave us a sneak peek at everything she'd dazzle us with for decades to come. Singing, dancing, acting, romance, thrills, heartbreak, the whole gamut of human experience was on display, and she was just getting started. To still dominate the headlines, and not just the tabloids after all this time, is a credit to her versatility, where she can open a huge movie and have a monster album drop around the same time. In 2001, her record J-Lo, featuring an Ellis family favorite, Love Don't Cost a Thing, was #1 on the charts at the same time The Wedding Planner was top at the box office. And her fashion line was just getting started as well, spearheaded by flamboyant appearances at award shows when she was always walking the line between classy and head-turner. For Lopez to still be primarily known for her artistic achievements rather than just being famous at this point, that is enough to sway me towards her in the legacy round, but as both of these women continue forging career milestones and breaking new ground, this is a conversation that we will continually revisit. J-Lo gets the wild card win for now, and thus takes the match 3-2.
Number one, my God, can you believe it?
Woo!
After all these years, and then all of a sudden, bang!
That's how it is.
But you're both winners. The world of entertainment will be a much more boring place without its queen or Jenny from the block. You're both victors in my book, and you're invited to the studio to look at, what else? We have a hoverboard here too, I think. Come anytime you want, except right now, because I'm signing off and I have a nap to take. Now it's up to you, dear viewer. Hit us up on social media at Rotten Tomatoes, and head over to RottenTomatoes.com for all the latest in the world of movies, TV, and anything else Queen Latifah and Jennifer Lopez might be up to. Until then, I'm Mark Ellis. Thanks for watching Versus, and in the words, or rather letters of a great artist, UNITY.